For almost anyone looking to lose weight, it is absolutely crucial to have recipes that take minutes to make while also being filling, high in protein, and low in calories. Oh, and did I mention taste absolutely delicious? I'm currently bulking, but I know most of you are cutting. So let's go through 4 different meals, including dessert, that you can eat for months without getting sick of. Let's get into it. I have been meal prepping my breakfast lately, and I already have 6 of these ready to go, but they're also super fast to make if you're in a pinch. And a few days ago, I made the sausage for this recipe that, by the way, took me 4 years to perfect. And not because I didn't make good breakfast sausage, but this is the McDonald's breakfast sausage, which tastes very similar to the real thing. What I do like about doing the sausage, it takes 5 minutes and you have 6 sandwiches worth, or if you do 2 pounds, you could have 12 sandwiches worth. So watch how fast this comes together. Since we're making 2, I got 3 pieces of parchment paper. If you don't watch the channel much, you'd be like, what the hell are you doing with that parchment paper? I'll show you in a minute. So each one of these weighs 80 grams. That's perfect. And we just have to grab another pan, cover one of the pieces of meat up. We're gonna make it about 5 inches. And that's about 5 inches. How do I know? I have been piping these for weeks now. So let's get this right into our pan. And while those brown up, we'll get our other ingredients ready. What's a sausage McMuffin without some eggs? So we'll have those there. We're gonna grab another couple pieces of parchment paper. And why I love these are already pre-cut and ready to go. And they pretty much fit anything that I need perfectly, like a sandwich or to flatten the patties, but pretty much whatever. Now what we also have is these 100-calorie muffins. They aren't exactly like the real thing, but they're about an 8, 8.5 out of 10. Still tastes great. And they've got a good amount of fiber in them, which keeps us full. There are way too many haters for Velveeta, but this is what they've used for, I don't know, since they've opened, since they've had a breakfast sandwich, they've used Velveeta. I like some spice, so I'm gonna use the jalapeno version. I can only get this at Walmart, but Walmarts are everywhere, and we're gonna get a slice for each sandwich. Now what you'll start noticing when it's time to flip is that there's condensation on the top. That means that there's browning on the other side, which is the Maillard reaction, which is pure flavor. All right, these are ready to flip. See, look at that nice crust we got on the other side. And we left it long enough for it to be all the way across. So that is great. Now you guys almost killed me last time in my comment section because you said it is a war crime. And I'm gonna get some of this oil here, or fat, from the sausage, so we get a nice good toast on here. And I'm gonna hold this down so there's an even toast. I don't mind toasting the McMuffins. I know you guys wanted to literally slice my throat, but I was just trying to show you a faster way to do it. But today I'll show you the other method where it does take an extra minute or 2 and you do have to hold it down here, but you get a nice crispy muffin. All right, this first one's done. All right, crust is ready on that one. Now we're gonna put down our cheese on the bottom bun because we want this cheese to melt. So we're gonna take our sausage and lay it right in. Now, a few days ago, I bought, or actually a few months ago, I bought these wide mouth bands, and I don't can anything as of yet. However, what I do want to do is make a McMuffin, and these make perfectly round eggs every time. Now, since I am cutting and I want to eat as much volume as possible, I'm gonna use just egg whites for this recipe. And don't worry, the egg yolks will get used later for the cheesecake that I showed you in the last full day of eating. And along with the English muffin where we save another 80 calories, I'm able to eat a whole nother sandwich for the same calories. Now, McDonald's doesn't season their eggs. I don't understand why, but we don't play that in my house. And I love me a little black pepper too. And you can never go wrong with a little garlic powder. Now, I'm trying to vary it up from the last full day of eating to show you, you can do this however you want. There are so many modifications you can make, and there are no rules in the kitchen. There never are. So I'm gonna put water down, cover it with a lid, and we're going to let that steam for a couple minutes. And during that time, I can get everything cleaned up because we're about done. And 2 minutes later, we have eggs that are fully cooked. Now, with the pepper, kind of looks like poo-poo, but don't worry about it. You'll see how beautiful they are once we take them out. And it's super easy to do since we sprayed it with oil. Look at that tender yolk. So soft. It's gonna taste so good. Now, we're not done yet. How, Nick? It looks ready to go. Well, the reason your takeout will taste better when you get home is there's time for the flavors to meld together. And wrapping it in parchment paper will do just that. So this is an optional step, but this will take your meal from a 9 to a 10. So I'm gonna put the McMuffins into the microwave for about 15, 20 seconds. And then I like to let it sit for about 2 minutes. And with one pan and a couple of canning lids, in less than 15 minutes, we have McDonald's in our kitchen that's actually gonna help us lose weight, unlike the $4, 500 calorie sausage McMuffin that only has 18 grams of protein. You know, we gotta try it. That sausage tastes so similar to a real sausage from McDonald's. And with that little bit of spiciness from the Velveeta. I love it. Let's go over the macros because I wanna eat the rest of my breakfast. Now I already have all of my recipes in my calorie tracking app. So if I put sausage, my sausage McMuffin meal prep is there, but I didn't use the yolk. But what I love about this calorie tracking app is you could put the individual ingredients. And since I didn't use whole eggs and I used egg whites, I just wipe out the eggs and I go down to egg white, and it's about 33 grams per egg white. So if you multiply that by 4, because we used 4 egg whites, that's 132 grams. And that's the only change we made. So in this meal, what we have is 616 calories, 20 grams of fat, 70 grams of carb, and 59 grams of protein. And whether you make this version or my meal prep version, which only takes 30 minutes, by the way, you will absolutely love these. Let's get to meal 2. For meal 2, I usually do something that is quick and easy, typically prepackaged, like a protein bar, a protein shake, or protein chips, along with some fruits or a small salad. However, I like to show you something that you could do in a pinch if you need something for lunch. So we're gonna kind of combine the two ideas, and you'll see what I mean here in a minute. But we're gonna start with some ground beef. In the last video, I used ground beef to make an amazing tostada. And this time we're gonna also do like another Mexican-ish, it's really fake ass white boy Mexican, but we will do another Mexican-ish dish here. I want some good browning on that, so I spread that out. Because like I said with the breakfast sausage, that Maillard reaction is muy bueno. So we got some salt, and then I saw this Cholula chili garlic taco seasoning, and I have a bunch of seasonings and I can make them. But again, I'm doing this so you know that, oh, I could get this at the store and just top this real quick, and I don't have to have all these seasonings, or I don't have to take my time to use all these seasonings. We already did that for the breakfast sausage. We don't need to do that again here. So we're gonna use about 4.5 grams here. And look at all that browning we got from the stainless steel pan. Love this. We're gonna use some of our tomato sauce here. We're gonna be using this later. I love using ingredients in multiple recipes throughout the day, but it's gonna give a completely different flavor. And we're gonna use a little bit of beef broth to get this off the bottom of the pan. And when you combine the tomato with the taco seasoning, you're gonna get a pretty authentic tasting taco meat here. But I'm really interested to see how that chili garlic Cholula seasoning tastes. I have very high hopes. So we're about ready to serve here. Just wanna make sure it's not too wet. But you could see that 93.7 is gonna be full of flavor here. I mean, look, just look at it. Now, we're still gonna be using a prepackaged thing, and that's gonna be protein chips. I couldn't decide which flavor I wanted to go with, the loaded taco, but I think I'm gonna go with sour cream, because loaded taco with a real actual taco Sounds like taco overload. Oh my God, I just have a great idea. I have these dried chives, which are kind of like green onion. And I'm gonna mix these in here too for some additional flavor. Just like the taco seasonings, I usually banish shredded cheese from existence, but I think a walking taco like this where melting doesn't really matter and there's gonna be so much flavor in the ground beef, this is a good time to use it. And it'll save you time as well. So I'm gonna add a 1/2 ounce here. And then our beef is nice and hot, which is a beautiful thing because this will naturally melt the cheese from the residual heat. And if I didn't want to show you this, or if I didn't have to show you this, I would have just put this in the top of the bag, but I wanted to show you what this is looking like. And I want some veggies on mine. I love me some lettuce and tomato, so I'm gonna chop some of that. Now for aesthetic purposes, so I could show you this, I'm only gonna put a little bit of everything on there, but I'm gonna put a little bit more on later. I also want some pickled jalapenos. You know, I love that. A little bit of guacamole salsa. This is one of my favorites. So good. We're gonna go with a 1/2 ounce here. All right, so a little bit of lettuce, a little bit of tomato, and we have a nice, hefty walking taco. Holy shit. It's so good. All right. Let's go over the macros. In just 10 minutes, we have lunch that equates to just 556 calories, 24 grams of fat, 13 carb, and 65 grams of protein. I'm eating what feels like a pound's worth of a walking taco and getting 65 grams of protein. Can't beat it. I love it. But you know dinner is the best meal of the day besides dessert, so let's get to meal 3. Typically, my most popular recipes coincidentally end up being the ones that I personally make the most. Today for dinner, or meal 3, that is no different. With almost 600,000 views, my Lou Malnati's sausage deep dish is absolutely incredible. And the great thing is, to make both the sausage and the dough, it takes about 10 minutes total. Knowing that I wanted to have deep dish today, yesterday, I just threw the dry ingredients into the food processor, added the wet ingredients, mixed them together, and then formed a ball of dough. And the sausage was even easier. Just put salt, pepper, and garlic on top of it, mix it together, and get it in the fridge. Now, even though I've made this about 50 times, I still have to go back to my cookbook to get the exact amount of ingredients and to see the steps too. Like one essential step that I don't want to skip is putting the Crisco around the pan. So you barely need any of this, about 1.5 grams. But when I didn't use this, I would never get that outside brownness that is really beautiful and makes the crust taste supremely better. What I also love about this recipe is I know how to spread the dough out just because I've made it so much, but I also have a deep dish process page after the instructions, so you could see what it should look like after each step. Now, I also already have a Neapolitan pizza meal prep that is freezer friendly and actually purposely made for the freezer, so you could have pizzas months down the line and make them in an instant. And that's been in the cookbook already for a week. So if you want to join the thousands, including myself, that have lost weight and get a recipe book that keeps on growing until I stop making YouTube videos, which will hopefully be forever, check the link out in the pinned comment and use code E4CM for 10% off the book. Now, spreading the dough out is the hardest part of this recipe, just because it keeps slipping around. And it's like, oh, you could take the Crisco out, but then you won't get that same brown crust. So I would rather spend the extra couple minutes spreading this out and getting it up the sides than have like a pale crust that doesn't taste as good. Now, unlike a regular pizza, the ingredients go cheese, toppings, then sauce. So we're gonna start with the cheese. What makes it super easy for me, I always have shredded cheese ready to go, whether that be fat-free cheese, which this one is, or shredded part skim cheese. So it's nice to put that on the scale, turn it on, it's like minus 43.5. So I know exactly where I'm at without having to like use another bowl or something. Now, what I'm doing to save a few calories on this pizza is instead of getting whole milk mozzarella cheese, I got part skim. And again, I'm just gonna put it on the scale, zero it out, and then add the cheese over top. So I use sliced mozzarella here from the deli because you could slice it super thin. And this is really gonna help when you put the sausage on to make sure that the sausage sticks easier because you're putting on piece by piece by piece. Now to weigh out the sausage, we're gonna do the same exact thing. We need 280 grams. We'll zero that out. I have a friend that owns a pizza shop and I used to go there, and this guy was so good at doing the sausage pieces. He would take all the sausage that he needs out and then he would just go like, bam. But like way faster, like twice as fast. Bam, bam. And I was like, dude, how do you do that? Like he would almost be already done with the entire circle. I like to start out as like a ring, and then I go in the middle and do a line across and a line across. And then wherever my remaining sausage is, I just evenly spread it out. And that looks absolutely beautiful. Now, I don't know what it is with me. I'm on an absolute jalapeno kick today, but I'm gonna add some more of these jalapenos that we used earlier for our walking taco in this pizza. I'm gonna put this on half. I'm not gonna do the whole thing. Last but not least, we have 180 grams of our tomatoes. And we wanna make sure that the sauce goes edge to edge, or you're going to burn the sausage with how long that this pizza stays in the oven with how hot it is. Now the real finisher is a little bit of Romano and a little bit of Parmesan. But oh my God, that looks perfect. Now to protect our crust and make sure that it doesn't burn, we need to get like little 3-inch pieces of aluminum foil, and we want to cover the crust right at the line of the crust. And there's not too much crust out there, but I'm telling you, after so many tests, you're gonna mess up the crust if you don't do this. So it's worth the extra couple minutes to do. And we have our masterpiece, and this is gonna go into a 450-degree oven, and I will be right back when it's time to eat. God, yes, I am so excited. So I'm pretty pissed because I had the perfect looking deep dish. I even took a picture of it to post to Instagram, but I didn't get the cheese pull that I wanted. So I put it back in the oven without the aluminum foil, and this is the perfect lesson. Look at this thing. It has burn marks all over it from only being in the oven for an extra 5 minutes without any aluminum foil. So me being an idiot trying to get a better thumbnail is your gain for seeing what happens if you put this in without the aluminum foil, and why like testing this so many times was important for me, because I would have never learned to put the aluminum foil on and I would have got this shit burn crust. But I bet it's still going to be delicious. So let's try it out. And look, no flop. For how much weight is on this thing, very impressive. Every time I make this, I'm like, why the fuck haven't I made this in a month, in 2 months, in a week? Oh my God. That was incredible, and I never really eat a whole piece of anything here, but I had to. Let's go over the macros so I could have my second piece and we could get our ass to dessert. Now I put a little bit less corn oil in, and I also substitute full fat mozz for part skim mozz, so I could fit this into my calories a little bit better. For this meal, we have 725 calories, 28 grams of fat, 50 grams of carbs, and 65 grams of protein. 700 calories, 65 protein. That is an incredible ratio for a real pizza that tastes absolutely delicious. And let's get to meal 4, the best meal of the day, dessert. For those of you that don't know, my very first recipe on the channel was a cinnamon toast crunch ice cream. It was absolutely phenomenal, about 6 cups big, and absolutely filled me to the brim. Ever since, I haven't stopped creaming. You guys have called me the cream king. You guys have been my creamers, and I have had 500 ice creams out of this bad boy. Hasn't broke, has always been there for me, and has always let me cream at the end of the night. Tonight is going to be no different. And I wanted to use one of my recipes that is very low calorie because I racked up a good amount of calories in my first 3 meals. That's okay though, we have options. But my go-to every single time, almost, is my Fruity Pebbles cream. I love it because with this Fruity Pebbles syrup that literally tastes like Fruity Pebbles, you get an ice cream that tastes identical. So let's wash off the sides and load it up. Admittedly, I need to look up what setting to use because every single recipe is different. So I'm just gonna look at the cookbook real quick. The ice cream function. I'm pretty mad at myself. I did have Fruity Pebbles in here, but I think they started to get old, so I threw them away, and I don't have any other good mix-ins. That's okay though. To get the right consistency though, I'm still doing the mix-in setting because I know that that helps add to the consistency that I'm looking for. Let's see what we got. Just look at it. So beautiful. So gorgeous. Let's see how beautiful this looks coming out of here. I mean, come on. Come on. Per usual, we got a 4-scoop bowl, more left over for later. But this thing is beautiful. Oh my God. All right, let's take a taste of this. No cereal. I think this is the first time I've ever done it with no cereal. For the macros on this and how much this tastes like Fruity Pebbles without any Fruity Pebbles, unreal. I want to go enjoy this in my bed. Let's get to the macros. In this ice cream, full pint, Fruity Pebbles, we have 170 calories, 4 grams of fat, 59 carb, 40 of them are coming from Swerve, and 10 grams of protein, 170 cal, 10 protein. Extremely good for a pint. You're not gonna get that in stores anywhere. Now, although today we ate 2,068 calories, 77 grams of fat, 193 grams of carbs, and 199 grams of protein, and I'm losing 2 pounds a week at this calorie level, it's important to have variety. So if I get sick of the Fruity Pebbles ice cream, I could switch to cheesecake. If I don't want cheesecake, I could switch to Rice Krispie treats. So in this video here, we'll go over 4 more meals that have 200 grams of protein total, and will keep you full and not wanting takeout. Until next time, deuces.